Hello, everybody. Welcome back to which show is this? Coriander Society Adventures. I just almost did a bad. Oh
The
man,
Tuesday show.
the Tuesday show. This is our
Scuff
5th edition
show.
fantasy adventure, powered by a whole lot of stuff, including Amazing Adventures 5e. But at the moment, we're in Spelljammer because it's a fantasy universe. We can go anywhere we want. We can do whatever we want. Our heroes are in the middle. Well, they're about to begin a ritual to rip the Curse of the Night Twist out of John Carmichael and their friend Charlie. But it requires 4 spellcasters, and the 4th spellcaster has been revealed, a mysterious drow who isn't immediately familiar to most of the party, but John seems to recognize.
Zuniel? Hi, you're alive. That's wonderful. What are you doing here?
Oh, yes. No thanks, no small thanks in part to the wisdom and mercy of John Carmichael.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but I did try to get you to switch sides multiple times and through various, haphazardly situations before everything finally came to a head.
No, I survived. You saw fit to that. And I've given your words quite a bit of thought. And I no longer hold parlance with the Spider Queen or with any other god.
Oh.
Yes.
What do you hold true to yourself now?
I am a loyal advisor to King Indogalad.
That's lovely.
Yes.
How long have you been here?
Some months. Given that my kin have no further use for me, have made their opinions on repeated failure quite well known. She shifts oddly in her space.
Oh no.
Reaching and stretching out. Rotating around on her hips in just very odd fashion.
Is she whole?
She looks whole.
What is she? I mean, aside from I can see the hood and the face cowling to cover her burns, but what is she dressed as?
It's almost rags, really. Not any identifiable garb. Nothing that any worthwhile elven noble would be caught wearing. Nothing with arcane sigils on it. No priestly garb that you can recognize.
Do these look like rags from her previous uniforms, or is this entirely new?
It's entirely new.
I mean, old new, like thrift store new.
Yeah.
Was she invisible prior to...
Yes.
Okay. Through magical means, I would assume. Okay, very good. This is a pleasant surprise, though not unwelcomed. Now, King Indogalad, why is one of your advisors skulking in the shadows and dressed in rags?
I have seen fit to look beyond the prejudices and sins of the past. If our people, if this system is to survive, it needs to open its mind and let such things lie. Many of my kin do not share this perspective. And until such a time as this enlightenment reaches all the elves of Perianth, it is less strife-causing to handle matters this way. Zuniel's advice and the intelligence she has provided have been invaluable.
I think I understand what you're saying, but I'm a little... Are you saying that you're dressing her in rags specifically because it makes the others more comfortable?
Nobody dresses me, John Carmichael, except for myself.
John turns and looks back at Zuniel. Okay, and...
I do as I see fit.
Have you seen fit to take a bath recently, Zuniel?
It's not as simple as it sounds, wizard.
Actually, well, yeah. I'm a wizard still. Yeah, absolutely.
He raises an eyebrow.
Don't worry about it. Look, regardless of how you look, I'm glad to see you, and I'm glad that you did end up accepting my proposal. Hopefully, now that we've shown that we can bridge the gap between what had previously happened between your peoples, this is good. We can do this on a much larger scale as we go forward.
Oh yes, a much, much larger scale. Yes.
I'm a little turned off by how sinister you sound with everything you say, though, Zuniel. I don't remember you being quite so foreboding.
We've both changed quite a bit, wizard.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Not all of it voluntary.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Shall we begin?
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. And again, not really. This is not really a worry. I'm just kind of bringing it up because it's just bygones and all that. But the last time that we interacted, you and I were competing with Ithrokasain to get this thing. You wanted this thing that's now inside of me and Charlie, and not that I'm saying it's an issue, but now I'm here, and I'm going to be very vulnerable. And I'm just making sure, and John's like looking around and just making sure the rest of our party understands the position that we're putting ourselves in currently.
Maybe you would survive for a day or two back in my home with a mind like that.
A day or two is all I would need. Anyway, let's just get to it. And John, is he in a bathrobe now? What are John?
Yeah,
and
they
Charlie?
put some ceremonial, like green forest colored, very light robes on you after you've been ritually scrubbed.
Okay. And then John looks from Zuniel to Adthea to Megwithin, and then finally to Indogalad. What is hey, wait a minute. Drow, High Elf, Wood Elf, Gray Elf? Is that what we have going on here?
Indeed.
Interesting. Okay, I like this. Great. What's next?
Indogalad looks over to his daughter, produces a branch of the Night Twist.
Oh.
Cut a while ago and gifted to her by John Carmichael. Indogalad takes the iron flask that contains the imprisoned Maru spawn. Medwithin holds her hands. Actually, he's going to give that to Zuniel. So Zuniel now has the iron flask. Indogalad takes a book and begins reading from it a high magic incantation. It takes him over a minute of chanting to open the field, surrounding all of you. Roll an Arcana check, John.
Arcana, here we go.
Do you remember in the Epic Level Handbook back in 3rd edition, how you could create custom spells, but you had to, the more difficult it was, you'd have to have, now in order to charge it, you need multiple wizards. You need to be a wizard of this much power. You have to make a skill check. That was epic magic. This is called high magic. And it functions by a very similar mechanism.
Interesting.
Indogalad has opened up this magical field, and the other 3 all join it with their own incantations.
Kind of like a coven. That's very cool.
Kind of like a coven, combining their powers together. Zuniel seizes the lead flask as soon as multiple layers of magic surround all of you. Seizes the lead flask of the lead stopper of the iron flask and opens it. Smoke coils out above, circling over John and Charlie as the Maru spawn abomination begins to reform. You see its snarling face, its burning eyes as this figure begins to take shape as it looms over the two of you. And Zuniel reaches out with one hand towards the cloud, another hand drawing on the mistle of high magic, and she snarls a word that John recognizes as the dark speech.
Oh.
There is a violet flash of flame around her hands. As she reaches in, a claw of violet fire emerges above you, reaches into the cloud, and rips out its heart. A pulsing mote of light. The abomination howls. You can feel your flesh calcifying for just a moment, and then it dissipates.
Whew.
Zuniel now has her hands held above her, and the glowing spark of divinity that used to be imbued into this creature is levitating between them. She passes it to the left. Althea holds up her hands, and the piece of night twist wood floats into the middle of the circle as Medwithin and Indogalad continue to chant. It floats and rotates directly on the point between the two of you. And when Zuniel passes the spark to the left, it begins to spin around and around, caught in the currents of the magic circle, thinning and thinning and thinning until it almost gets strung out like wire, like metal wire, glowing and luminescent. Then it wraps into the center around the night twist wood like a spindle, like thread around a spindle. Burning into it, you can smell burning wood. Indogalad takes a knife, places it to his own arm, opens a vein, and lets his blood drip to the ground. He shouts 3 words of power, one for each drop. The entire chamber shakes. A booming echo resounds. In the back of this deep sound is a haunting tune. Terrible, sorrowful, melancholy melody. Asena, roll a perception check for me.
Okay. Why?
Don't worry about it.
Mate, it's the same tune that was playing the last time we dealt with this thing.
Yeah, this is the Song of the Night Twist.
Yeah.
Okay. Asena, when the third drop of blood strikes the ground, there is a flash of light from the center where the divine spark is being wound about the Night Twist staff. More of a rod, really. And in that flash of light, for a brief moment, standing outside the circle, Indogalad, this tall, striking elven king, twists and hunches over, his body mutilated and deformed. As he wheezes, something viscous drips from his lips. On the other side, Zuniel looms above all of them. Her upper body still maintaining the spell, but her lower body, that of an enormous spider.
You.
Althea looks completely normal, except that her beautiful dangling earring is burning white hot. It's absolutely searing. You can smell burning flesh. John and Charlie, please roll Constitution saving throws.
I do what you ask. Also, is anything happening to Medwithin that is changing her appearance or visage?
Nope. Queen of Illusions is on the up and up.
That's Gucci.
Wow.
John activates Lucky.
All right.
And I roll again and take the better. I take that. You know what? Might as well just really dial that in. And hoya. There we
Wow,
go. 25.
Ooh, a 19 from your boy Charlie.
Nice job,
Excellent.
bud.
You take half damage.
Okay.
Damage.
You take 22 points of psychic damage.
Ow. That we had the 14 temporary hit points from my
Yes.
talkie
Yes,
talk.
you did.
So
you only take 8 points of damage.
nice.
Actually, that was necrotic damage. So if you have any necrotic resistances, because I made you roll a Constitution saving throw, you can deploy that.
Cool. Then I only took 11 points of damage, in which case
3 off of your life.
I have. Well, no, I have 3 temporary hit points. Still, because it's 14 minus.
Got
11
it.
minus 14.
Got it. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. First, the black sap that was beginning to clog your body is forcefully drawn through your flesh. It is very, very painful. But you've been resolved against it from the beginning. So both you and Charlie, there are groans of pain, but they're able to resist. Now, roll a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, goody gumdrops.
20. Dirty.
Nice job, buddy.
Hmm.
12. John is going to use a deduction dice with which to add 15 total.
All right.
And
Anything else?
yeah, lucky. I don't want to die. So I got to get better than a 4 on this one. Nope. Okay, well, I'll take the 4.
All right. You're going to take full damage. This is the psychic damage.
Yeah, well, that happens.
You take 37 points of psychic damage. Charlie grits his teeth. He's been used to this mental assault. Takes 18 points of psychic damage. As all the nightmares you have ever experienced while in the throes of the Curse of the Night Twist suddenly rush and flash before your eyes at rapid speed. The curse is physically drawn from your body. It's psychically drawn. And as this flows out of you, these nightmares and this black ichor, they also get caught in the vortex of high magic spinning around you, winding around the scepter, binding with the glowing light of the divine spark that has been extracted into it, fusing with it like fire smelting iron to iron. As they spin together faster and faster, all weaving out, drawing it from you like a spindle drawing thread. The last bit of it parts. You collapse to your knees. And the 4 spellcasters chant seals over the branch of the Night Twist. The spell field resolves, shrinks past them, focusing stronger and stronger, trying their concentration to its fullest. They continue their chanting. It draws closer and closer. It passes through you, John, and through Charlie. You can feel the magical static flowing through your body, and then it cuts as if you were inside of a room that had that weird high-pitched noise that TV sometimes make, and then it stopped. And it wraps around the staff in the center. There's one last flash. And the piece of Night Twist wood falls to the ground. And the curse is lifted.
Yes! What?
Victory noise. The 4 spellcasters look to each other, and Athea says, "Did it work?" Indogalad steps forward, reaches down, and slowly, gently lifts up the branch. Its surface burned with marks coiled around all the way around it. warped as if wood itself had melted, with a series of screaming faces now inlaid into its pattern, topped by a shrieking skull made from that same wood.
Did we just make a wand?
Yes.
Oh, snap. No, we should just snap it. Like, seriously.
Indogalad lifts it up, takes a deep breath, looks with a smile at Charlie and at John.
Oh.
You will sleep easy tonight, my friend.
For the first time in years. Thank you. John stands up, and there's no guards here, so John's going to do a little wizard check-in with Indogalad. He wants to hug him. Is it going to be bad if he tries to hug him?
You will not get fireballed or shanked or magic missiled if you hug the king.
Okay, then he's gonna go in for a very just pure, honest, just warm hug.
All right. The king seems light, almost hollow boned in your arms, but he returns it. And Asena, after what you saw for a moment, you're afraid that John is going to break the king in half, but seems to be fine.
Only Asena noticed that, right?
Correct.
Good to know.
Weird.
All right. I believe this calls, my friends, for a feast.
It does. Also, what are you going to call that? And John points at the very evil-looking wands that Indogalad holds within his hand.
This will be sealed.
Also, what is that?
This is the Scepter of Corylus.
Good name.
Seems a fitting name.
Much better than Night Twist Stick. That's what I was thinking of.
Night Twist Stick is not bad, though, honestly. I kind of like Night Twist Stick. Although it kind of sounds like something that you do in high school.
Oh, man. All right, so Indogalad is going to secure this in his vault, in his, the library that like has all of his ancient forbidden books. Inside of it, there's a vault where the most ancient and most forbiddenest of things go. It's getting sealed in the vault. He is going to attend to that immediately, but yeah, party time. He already had people, like, the feast was actually prepared, but they had one set of banners for congratulations on not being cursed, and another set of banners on sorry that you're dead.
Sorry, dead.
Just in case.
So they're like, okay, elven nobles, you will be using your celebratory gowns and fans and jewelry. You don't have to go switch. And a bunch of the nobles hadn't even gotten dressed yet because they didn't know if they were getting the sad clothes or the happy clothes. Just
a bunch of naked nobles walking around like, well, let's find out what happens here.
This is how it be. So
You have to start burning the old stuff so it doesn't end up on the black market.
Oh, that's funny.
We don't have to burn it. No decent elf would ever be seen. All of this was specifically made for John Carmichael's funeral. And if he was killed by a dragon, none of this would work. This is clearly apparel that is for being killed in a magic ritual funerals. God, imagine being caught in this at a got killed by a dragon funeral. It'd be the scandal of the century.
Well, hold on to it. I might still be killed in a ritual one day. Just you wait.
Oh, but we'd have to change it all out depending on the season, the time of day that you're killed, whether or not it's King Indogalad who performed the ritual. Not that any of us ever had any doubt. Oh, great one. But it would be absolutely gauche to have a single thing out of line. Perhaps some of the linens could be kept, but the jewelry, it would all have to be melted down and swapped out. But yes, we don't have to burn any of this. No self-respecting elf would ever be caught dead wearing something that was this out of fashion.
But it's only been 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was so 5 minutes ago.
So if Indogalad is going to retreat to his sanctum, in which John's going to try to follow him. If John can't follow him, then he wants to speak with the other elves who were a part of the ritual.
Well, John is not invited to follow him.
Hey, then you know what? You can try. A man can dream.
Exactly.
Getting
Zuniel, by
invited
the
to
way,
the king's inner sanctum.
Zuniel is going to go back to being invisible very quickly because guards and people will be coming back into the room.
Well, then I guess John is going to approach her first.
Mhm.
And he is also going to give her a hug if she is open to it. He kind of opens his
No.
arms. No.
Nah.
Handshake. He kind of moves the hug into like a, we were once enemies and now we are something more. I think we should have a little not attacking each other one of these.
I have no intention of attacking you, John Carmichael. Hasn't worked out for me in the past, has it?
Yes, obviously. What I'm saying, though, is that since we have once become enemies and now we are something more, we should commemorate that with a skin-to-skin bit of contact with our
Something
forearms
more.
to signify.
But for something less. We used to be enemies,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're not.
Yes.
A terrible loss. A grievous loss.
I suppose so.
While the rest of
enemy
us shall
lost.
be celebrating, I shall be mourning the loss of my dear departed nemesis, John Carmichael, and the sweet, sweet hate that I held in my heart for him. Now,
Understandable. Have a nice day. John
laid
just turns
down
around and
into
leaves.
the ashes of the void.
Nope, done with you. John just walks away now.
All right. She snickers and then like walks off into the shadows and turns invisible again and less interrupted.
I can't counter it anymore, so,
Just counter spell, fuck you.
Yeah, unfortunately not.
Asena, you're here too. You're allowed to mingle, walk around, talk with folks, etc. as needed. Now, I originally planned for Gastone to be here, so the feast is gonna go down, but there is going to be the question of what are you gonna do next?
Next or like at the feast, because I'm eating a lot.
Both, actually. Like, let's go ahead and resolve this. But where I want to take us when we get to the feast is what is 1-2 Punch going to do next? But yeah, who else do Asena or John want to talk to here before the feast begins?
Oh, that would be Adthea and then Medwithin is John's goal.
Okay. Adthea is very excited.
Are you okay? It smelled really bad there for a minute.
Everything went perfectly. Absolutely, according to each participant's contribution. That was the greatest piece of magic I've ever been involved in.
That's fantastic, but are you okay? How's your
Yes,
ear?
Absolutely. My ear is fine.
Oh, okay. Well, great. Wonderful.
Yes.
Well, thanks again. John heads over to engage with Medwithin.
Mm-hmm.
And he is going to wrap her up in a big warm hug.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she hesitates for a moment, but then goes ahead and leans into it just because she's so used to keeping up this appearance of being this ethereal, mysterious, untouchable stranger that she's not used to this sort of intimacy, but she's here for it.
And when he withdraws, he's going to hold up her hand and then give her a kiss in the back of her hand.
Mm-hmm. She cannot help but smile.
Medwithin, thank you very, very much for being a part of this. I honestly don't know where I'd be if it wasn't for you. You have been the cornerstone of my sanity and survival ever since the incident with Corylus. So 100 times over. Thank you.
Thanks to you, together we have laid to rest an evil and a suffering that has racked this system for centuries. They'll be telling stories about us, John.
Hopefully good ones. But the legends will be nice. So, I take it we're all going to go party.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything you needed? We kind of got a little bit spaced out the last time we spaced out. We were successful, as you can see. And since we've been back, have you had a chance to, and he looks over at Hara.
She shakes her head.
Okay, we should try to do something about that before we leave this world again. If you don't want to initiate, be on standby. I'll see what I can do.
She'll
but
nod.
I think that I think that they're going to be more open to the idea of figuring out where we all stand. But you did great. Thank you.
She will see you at the feast, and then she's going to go over and talk to Gastone. Anything else before the feast, Asena?
Yeah, I am heading over to Hara.
Okay.
What's it called when you maybe saw something but didn't really see it? So I'm gonna ask you a question as if it didn't happen, but maybe just we're pretending that that thing happened.
Asena, why don't you just go ahead and say the thing before we figure out which of those 5 nested words it might be?
Okay. Definitely didn't happen, but if it were to happen,
Mhm.
the did the king looks really weird in that um little ritual, right? To you and everybody?
All I saw was them opening a high magic field, finding some intonations, some incantations, to enact a powerful ritual. What do you mean by weird?
If perhaps you saw the king turning into a little
A what?
a little would you ask him? Maybe should I ask him?
No.
No.
No. No. Indogalad and John have some sort of bond that they've established, but to everybody else, appearances are everything to these elves. It's part of how they maintain their power. We would not brook such a question kindly.
Yeah.
Also, you can't just ask someone why they bit.
You've never met Asena? Have you never met her? Because she will.
She has, and she
She
will.
will. She will kill again.
Should we ask John?
Perhaps, yes. Out of earshot of these courtiers and all their games and their precious fans.
Oh, they have really good ears.
Yes.
Okay. We'll keep it we'll keep it on the low down.
Hara
low
looks
down.
at you, points at the dragon fang, and then taps her head.
Oh yeah, we could talk in here. Oh, this is much better. Oh, you want a 3-way call?
Who do you have in mind?
John. John?
Sure, he's busy with his gray elf friend. Let's drop in.
Hey, John.
Hello. I don't have a voice, man.
I don't know if you saw or not, but Mr. King Elf, he kind of in the middle of the ritual, he was like, eh! And I wanted to know if you saw that too.
All the while this is happening, John's trying to have a meaningful conversation with Medwithin, and he can't help but just kind of look over at Asena during this. And over the course of this this questioning, he kind of goes, "You know what? I'll outwardly, I'll see you at the party." Medwithin in his brain.
You see her do the little lick.
I was having a very hard time concentrating on anything because black sap and the memories of 1,000 nightmares were being pulled from my very body. What did you see?
Mr. King Elf, sir, looked like a poison tree thing.
Excuse me?
For just a second.
clarify. What does poison tree thing mean?
Like
He
what?
looked like a tree?
He looked like, I don't know, whatever you had in you.
We need to talk about this soon, but not here.
Yeah, that's why I'm talking to you in your brain.
I know, but okay. We need to rope. Okay, you know what? And John will say pleasantries out in the open, very distractedly to the rest. Adthea, Mirith, there's something really cool that Asena and I want to show you. Here, can you follow us for a moment?
Althea is delighted and will absolutely go with you, and Mireth gracefully offers Althea her arm and will follow. And so the lot of you can excuse yourselves, whoever you'd like, within the court of Fleuris.
I think we'll if Gastone will want to come, we bring Gastone. We send Boguk with Charlie. Hey, get him back to the ship and get him patched up. He's not in a good way.
Yep, they'll go ahead and take him.
And I'd like to get at least the three of us doing the mental talk with Adthea and Mirith and go somewhere more private to.
Okay, well, they'll take you to
discuss.
Althea's quarters because those are warded with privacy spells.
The ones that got blown up just a little
Yeah,
bit
they
ago.
do look slightly blown up. Mireth has done an admirable job of de-blowing them up, but they do look a little bit blown up.
Oh my gosh, what happened in here? It's usually impeccable.
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Whole lot of nothing. Anyway. Adthea, you may want to sit down. In fact, I'm going to sit down. I'm still not feeling very good.
Althea sits down, but she can barely stay seated.
Asena, can you share with the class what you had told Hara and I earlier?
About the
About the yeah.
I thought we weren't gonna tell the whole class.
Well, no. So this extra credit that we're on, this assignment was given to me by Adthea. Adthea is basically the teacher of this assignment. It's very relevant to her interests.
Althea is a teacher.
Well, that's Althea is a teacher's aide.
I could be a teacher.
You could absolutely be a teacher. Anyway, make with the please describe what you saw during the ritual.
Well, it's already hard to remember, but he was standing tall during the ceremony, right? And then all of a sudden he was like "Bleh, bleh," and like twisty and like deformed for a second. No? And there was like drippy stuff.
Did you see anything else?
Just a drippy stuff.
He's hiding it better than I thought.
Wait,
No,
what do you mean?
My father, the king, the House of Fleuris has always had, for a very long time, a complicated reputation. There are people who say that our ancestors' blood of demons runs through our veins, which isn't true. But we are the heirs to forbidden, dangerous magic. Not all blood magic is transformative and corruptive, but many of the things that my father has learned and practiced over the years to maintain his status as the king, the vaults of my family's legacy, the magic that was left to us by the kings and queens of old, it's twisted, it's corruptive. And he holds it at bay through the amulet that he wears. It preserves his body from the corruption that magic should wreak. But every king and queen of Fleuris has died before their time, always died very young. I've been worried about him. If you saw it during the ritual, I'm worried that if something doesn't change, I don't know how long he has. I've asked John to help me with this before, and I was so excited for the ritual. I didn't think about the things he would need to do in order to harness this magic, this curse of Corylus, and maybe it made things worse.
But Athea, you yourself are a very learned scholar. I'm sure you haven't been idle while I've been away. Have you discovered anything more during your research, how we would be able to assist your father? I would assume it would be not doing something to prolong or extend his life. I think you're looking to probably cleanse it. Is that right?
Had an internet spike in the middle of that, but you were saying that you were thinking she was looking for a cure, not a medicine, right?
If you're looking at this like a disease, of which
Mhm.
it seems like it very possibly could be, regardless of if this birthright of yours can be harnessed for power, it's obviously doing it at the cost of the host. Much like any other cancer within the body, it needs to be removed. Anything that you do counter to that is only prolonging your father's continued existence. It's not actually going to be helping him. If we want to truly help him, we need to separate him from this sanguine spell upon him. Is being the king of Fleuris more important than being alive?
You asked him, he'd
Is it
probably say
necessary?
yes.
Or the times they are a-changing. There is now a drow among the advisors of the court of Fleuris. Perhaps it's time for things to change. You also have dwarves and humans and halflings. There's all manner of advisors that have been making their way into the court of Fleuris. It's possible that this may be the beginning of a great era where such dire magic isn't needed to hold one's position.
It's the other elven courts that he has to worry about, the other kings and queens, if they sense his weakness. But I have been doing research. Like you said, I haven't been idle at all. I've been very busy, very focused.
And what have you found?
I think one of our ancestors, the first Fleuris who rose to power, who bore the weight of this corruption, I think she brought it back from Verdura.
That's actually very likely. And this starts to make a lot more sense now. Okay. Another adventure. Very good.
Just, I don't want to ask it too quickly of you. The elven lifespans, when we say cut short, I mean only a couple of centuries. There should still be time, and I know that. Yes, I would ask for your help when you're ready.
Well, we've been gone quite a while, and we only came here initially to assist Hara with her quest, and we took a bit of a detour, got her wrapped up in one of mine. Thank you, by the way. I think we should head back to Northport as soon as we can. Make sure that after the calamity that we threw it in, make sure that both Gastone and Asena's home world is fine. Make sure that Hara's charges are fine. And then after that, we'll see where we land. To me and mine, the most important thing that I care about, and I think that Asena and Hara and Gastone would agree, would be to stop the elder evils that are out there in the universe attempting to absorb, destroy, kill, whatever they're doing to all the life that they are attempting to hold dominion over. That is foremost in our thoughts. But beyond that, anything that we can do to help those that we come across, I promise that we do our best. We'll return soon. I promise you that.
Althea jumps up and hugs you.
And John gives her a big old hug back, because John loves hugs.
I've given this a lot of thought, so when you're ready, I'll have all the funding, I'll have everything in position, all my research notes and everything.
Fantastic. I will get the pilgrims prepped for it, and as soon as we can, we'll rush back.
She nods.
The Court of Fleuris has done a lot for me. Of course, it was the Court of Fleuris that got me in trouble in the first place, but bygones and all that.
Does kind of happen that way. Do we want to miss out on the feast?
No. We should. By the way, Asena, great eye.
Happened right in front of me. I wasn't gonna say anything. Okay, you should thank Hara, because I was gonna ask the king myself, but she told me that was a bad idea.
Ooh.
Asena, whenever you think you notice something, I strongly recommend that you do say something, but like today, probably say it to me first.
Okay.
Or another
Good to
adult.
know.
Someone you trust. If
Adult.
Farah's not available.
Hara
Me. You should say it to me.
Quietly points at herself. Just like taps against her chest. Just
Hara is an applicable candidate. John is an applicable candidate. Gastone is an applicable candidate. We are all Hara. We are all here to support you, and you tend to pick up on things that others of us miss out on, and so we want to know about it.
If anybody has to talk about it in front of other people, you can just call it the it.
We can just call it the eh.
And we'll understand.
Also, the mental talk is probably a good idea as well.
Yes, but I forgot that. So Hara reminded me.
Yep. Well, we'll all remind you. Don't worry. Anyways, I'm famished. I feel like I haven't truly felt this. I don't even know a weight off my shoulders. You know when you have like one of those really, really bad boogers, and I mean like right up in your brain, and you somehow pull that sucker out. I know you're not supposed to be digging around up there, but when you just pull it out and it's like taking like a root from a tree, it's just, how could that be so long and so hard, but also so goopy? Well, it's like that, but everywhere. It's amazing. I feel reborn.
Hara gives you the look. Althea's eyes are incredibly wide, and when you're done, she says, "Is that a thing that happens to humans?"
You don't have that happen to you? Reach on up there, see what you find.
She reaches her hand, Mireth takes her wrist and gently lowers her hand.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you really need to become more acquainted with your orifices. That is one of the greatest guilty pleasures that one can possess. Is just rooting around for gold up in there.
All the women in the room are staring at you. Althea is just sort of wide-eyed, has no idea what's going on. Mireth and Hara are both just...
You can't tell me none of you have done the same. Come on, everyone's done it. You've all been children.
Princess, let's get you ready and properly attired for the feast.
John looks over. Asena, you've done it. Come on.
Yeah. When we've retired and you're about to go to bed, just replay that sentence in your head again and think about it. And maybe you'll come to the realization of what you said. We're not talking about boogers anymore.
You can get, as Althea and Mireth escort, to the back of the chamber, which is a polite dismissal. Hara leans over and says, "You can assist the princess in becoming more familiar with her own orifices on your own time."
Oh, come on! And the camera zooms out as John's like, "That's That's not what I. And it cuts away to the next scene.
It's a pity we still have half an hour to go because I'd just be like, good night, everybody. This has been Coriander Society Adventures. Thanks for joining us. Like, comment, and subscribe.
That was perfect.
We cut to the feast.
And then we cut, and there's like an elf that like has a little pinky that's like rooting around, and then just flicks it off, hiding behind the fan.
Yes, exactly. That's now going to be like the new illicit, all these drug-addled after parties at the decadent parties that the elven nobility hold. That's going to be like the new scandalous, hedonistic. I'm going to translate what nose picking is in Elvish and just make it sound really flowery and delicate.
It's not even those. They call it mining. Mining for crypto is what they do.
Oh my gosh.
Sweet Jiminy giblets. All right. Elven feast. Fairy lights flitting from table to table. Harps, dancing, flowers. Everyone's wearing, it's like the Met Gala every single night in Perianth.
Oh, yeah.
Elaborate gowns, and the elves are so rich and so obsessed with status and appearances that they never wear the same thing twice. There's always some change to it. Magical patterns that change. Flowers that are woven into, like, you're wearing a tapestry with flowers on it, and the flowers bloom in the tapestry, in the design itself. Lighted with all sorts of glowing fairy fire, always with the different fans symbolizing different emotions and things that shouldn't be spoken out loud but need to be communicated throughout the room. And the food, it is top notch, mostly fruits and vegetables and some very light, beautifully baked things, but the occasional like whole cooked deer. It just, you've been here before. Elven wine is something else. Absolutely crisp and refreshing, not cloying at all. It's a hell of a party. And this one is the last one was to celebrate you arriving and returning after so long. This one is to celebrate you surviving and the curse being removed. Praise is being lauded on Indogalad. Praise is being lauded on Medwithin and on the princess for this big arcane feat that they've accomplished. Bards are already weaving things into their stories in praise of the noble family in order to increase their own clout. Good times are had by all. The camera flies over the feast as you see all the different pilgrims, Nizar and Domnica challenging each other to a drinking contest with elven wine, which is incredibly gauche. Absolutely a social taboo, but they don't care. They're the pilgrims. They work directly for Indogalad. And all the elves act scandalized, but really they're delighted. They always love gossiping about what those mercenaries that the king keeps are doing this time. We see each of them, 10 kobolds just sort of sitting over his food, eating it, looking at the fire on the table. Zomkug has his arm around 2 different elves and is being quiet, and not a lot going on his face, but he looks very pleased with himself. Lonnie Lay Simple is sitting near Domnica, drinking. Boguk and Boignus are getting along really well. Boignus, with his big old hat, magically enchanted to make his garb look fantastic, is celebrating and somehow making this whole thing about himself. Like, not entirely about himself, but always seems to be involved, always seems to be like, oh, I was there, oh, John and I, we go way back, you should have seen. Just constantly inserting himself into the narrative one way or another.
But being very, very charming about it.
Exactly. Not being a total jerk about it and still listening to other people's stories, but a little bit of clout farming.
He's a Chad. You can't keep a good Chad down.
Molly Lyklin seems distracted, but is really enjoying the taste of home. And Ben is just sitting there, occasionally freezing words out of the air and eating them, and everyone thinks that's delightful. The elves, they're like gathering around him and just saying different words and seeing what happens with it. Charlie's recovering. Charlie is not at the massive elven party. He's been through the ringer.
No.
Yeah, he decided to stay back and sleep. That is the most decadent thing he can think of right now. That's sleep.
True. Good boy.
And where do we find our heroes?
I'm eating deer.
All right.
Yeah. The dearly departed deer.
I'll I don't know if people use utensils, but I'm just like grabbing pieces off of it.
Okay. Just haunch.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
she'll grab a piece and like hand it to someone. It's very good. Would you like some?
There's a crisis going through this elven noble's mind at the moment, for to refuse to accept it would be incredibly gauche. But then to touch it with their bare hands is also incredibly gauche. And all the other elves immediately like switch fans and look at that elf to see what they'll do.
What
Worrying about it is also incredibly gauche.
Oh my god, you're right!
That's
I'll-
cringe, elf.
I'll just drop it on their plate.
Most gracious, thank you. You truly have an eye for the most delicate of cuts. Wipe prestidigitation to clean the hands. Like almost all high elves can cast prestidigitation at will, so they just everything's spotlessly clean. Something gets spilled, they just magic it away. Ara's sitting with a lot of you. I don't suppose it's a problem that a giant drow fleet has discovered the location of the city of Spires, when their whole mission was to find the power of the ancients for the Illithids.
What?
Who is she saying that to? Just anybody?
You.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I doubt they were there just for us. However, they were pretty severely routed. I'm not sure if they had, aside from just gathering information, they seemed like they were sending a force with which to accomplish something. But through our efforts, I'm not sure if they'd be able to do that. I think the best they could do, I mean, we didn't see hide nor hair of them on our way back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Initially, we were being pursued. Did we notice as we were leaving orbit that they gave up the chase?
Yep. They weren't chasing you. I mean, they chased you a little bit, but they didn't give hardcore. They didn't chase you once you jumped to cruising speed.
And just to kind of recollect with Hara, there was one big mothership. There were 3 mid-sized large death spider ships, and then there were 4 spinnerets, right?
No, the mothership carried like a dozen spinnerets.
Okay.
So that mothership is pretty sizable. We have no information on how many people. Not that this is our problem, John. I just think that it's somebody's problem.
I mean, it's certainly someone's problem, but considering we repelled a great large bit of that force, I would assume they're mostly probably going to do reconnaissance now, especially if they heard the great Carmichael was there. Through my efforts and the rest of the pilgrims, we've been screwing them up the last couple of years now. So that might have changed their tune, although we fled. So that might have also, taken that off the table. Regardless, though, we know that the Morrispawn are a incredibly powerful group. If they try to get with them, they're not going to be able to use their ships or their numbers to any great advantage inside those catacombs.
Plus, being so close to the sun does the drow no favors.
Absolutely. So we got back pretty quick. If they didn't leave at the same time that we did, they'd likely miss the alignment of the planets. I would assume if we would like, we can give the elves a heads up, and maybe they can look for the drow upon their return, intercept them before they're able to get that information back.
Possible. Space is big, though.
Space is big.
I would be happy to deliver that report.
That would be most excellent, actually.
All right.
Also, if it's possible, do you think you'd be able to scry on them?
I can try.
We did have a couple of captives. Maybe they'd be able to be some sort of sympathetic connection.
See to that before we leave.
Excellent.
Oh. She gets up as if to go walk over to the high table. Like, you guys are at the high table, but to go talk to, Indogalad and all those folk about the drow situation. But before she goes, our debts are clear. You, me, all of us.
Medwithin?
I owe her nothing. She owes me nothing.
Let's start.
So, like, friends?
Acquaintances.
She shrugs. You can play her courtly games here. I have students that I need to take care of. It doesn't matter to me.
Understandable.
Her business
That's-
is hers, and mine is mine.
That's pretty good.
John holds out his hand to Hara.
She waits a moment, then she takes it.
And John pulls her into a hug.
Roll an opposed strength check.
Yes, sir. Let me remind you, I have a lot of bullshit, and I am very fresh today. And you have disadvantage on your first roll today.
You're right, I do. Let me use that disadvantage to
Yes,
avoid.
please. Yes, please.
12. All right. Hara is surprise hugged.
And John just, again, kind of, he keeps their forearms between them. So not giving her like a huge, big, like, oh yeah, we're all gushy, but
Mhm.
takes the forearm handshake and pulls into a hug and kind of just puts an arm around her back, pulls her in, again,
bro
keeping
hug.
their, yeah, kind of, well, yeah, bro hug, more so like a safety hug, giving them
Mhm.
some space for her to where I'm not forcing myself all up in your business, but like
Mhm.
it's more than just a regular handshake. And he whispers to her, not like Asa, 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 but just low enough to where intended for
Mhm.
her. Thank you.
She doesn't go in any closer, but she does give you a nod back. Let's go.
Okay, I have some stuff to do. You'll likely not see much of me for most of the evening, but I'll be around. And
What are we doing next? I need to get back to Northport. I have a school to run.
oh yeah, I thought we discussed that back at the room. We need to connect with Gastone as well, but
Mhm.
I figured after this feast that I know you love, Hara, I figured we would head back and get to Northport and figure out. We left the city in quite a bit of calamity, as I recall, having destroyed one of the main organized crime families in the area, leaving dismay and a vacuum to be filled. I can only assume that we're going to be needed there briefly before we decide where to go after that. But how are we going to get back?
I can handle it.
Oh.
Or
You can?
The king can handle it. We'll handle it. It'll be handled, all right?
Okay. Tomorrow morning, then?
I mean, how did you and Indogalad get there?
He teleported.
I'm sure we can work something out.
Or, just a thought, we could do the Astral Sea again. He looks over at Asena. We have a taxi. We have a very, very reliable source of
Say hello to
transportation.
Rocco.
Yes,
We can get anywhere we want that way.
exactly.
Let's just resolve to leave in the morning.
Sounds good.
That means no
Are you
hangovers.
sure you want to run a school? You don't want to do dragon things.
And why isn't running a school a dragon thing?
I don't know. Is you think Northport can handle a dragon?
Who cares?
Hara, I will say, not that you need to agree with what I'm proposing, but you do have a accepting my power comes with it the responsibility of what it took to get it. You are not only a mythical figure, but a very, very capable one. I think it's only right that you take up the burden of what I was thrusted upon me so many years ago. I was a planeswalker going from multiple different worlds hiding pieces of the flesh of Kor. And we've only recently discovered that while good in intention, was unfortunately a bonehead move, because now we have to go back and recover all those pieces to safeguard them from the Elder Evils, or leave them where they lie and destroy the Elder Evils seeking them. So we're going to need your help, I think. Don't you agree?
I can't turn my back on that. You're right. But my students are also my responsibility, and I can't turn my back on them either.
You could teach on weekends. Night school, even.
We'll find a way to balance both.
I agree.
I'm not
We can
going
do it.
to go running off on every single errand and vacation across the cosmos or the city, but in matters of our duty, I'll be there.
Fantastic. We'll iron out those details later, but
Speaking
let's just say
of details, she whirls on Asena. Have you been taking any notes for the interdimensional gala?
The
Hara?
gala!
You're on board?
I said I would help Asena with this. So that's a third obligation, a third duty, all right? Take that seriously. Roll insight, John.
I'm rolling insight.
There's so many more people we can invite now.
She just really cares about Asena. All the talk of duty is like, whatever. It's not whatever. It's just more nuanced than that.
Yeah.
My business is taken care of. This is something else that we need an invite list. We need an eligible spouse material list. We need a guest list. You given that any thought yet?
I haven't, but I bet you that's something I could work on and write down.
Okay.
Right. I forgot about it.
There's been a lot going on. Just consider that, so that then when I get back to Northport, I go back to the Donahue Institute, and I go back to my duties as the headmistress of that. Let's just keep each other in the loop on that, all right? We can write, we can send messages, we can call, we have telephones, we have...
Maybe we can come up with this thing where you could be in one place and I could be in another place, and we conjure some sort of image and we could see each other in different places.
John, Gastone, yes?
We could probably make that happen, yeah.
Great. Just think about that. She points her eyes around this elven feast full of nobles. Think about it. And she's going to go over...
Wait, speaking of things that we forgot, Marikov's still in jail! And John storms off towards the high table.
All right. Hara's about to go deliver a military report, and John's like, shut the fuck up. My boy is in the Huskow. All right.
By the way, all the while that we're at this party, John is using the less used form of prestidigitation in order to soil the clothing and raiments of all the elves here.
Just subtly messing with them.
Exactly. Just a little bit of dirt here, a little bit of, errant boogie there, just making the just catching them off their faux pas, to where every now and then someone gets smirked at and they don't realize why until they How?
Roll an Arcana check and a Deception check to spread social scandal throughout the court of Fleuris. While he's messing with that, Asena, once Hara and John both depart to go to the high table to take care of political stuff, is there anything else that Asena specifically wants to do aside from natural 20? Aside from enjoying the delights of the Elven Feast?
Asena is going to start interviewing every single person to see if they would be good qualifications to go to the ball. But she
Oh.
won't tell them what she's asking all these questions and taking notes for.
Okay, roll persuasion, insight, and deception, please. Natural 1 on persuasion, natural 20 on the insight, and a flat 13 on deception. What does that even look like? I feel like you come across as extremely blunt. Do you like parties? Do you like special parties? So at some point they think that she's inviting them to one of the like hedonistic decadent after parties where everyone smokes Mordain vapor and such, and they're all trying to figure out, do I want to get in on this? Will there be anybody I know? Will there be any bigger streamers at that party? Or is it gonna be a bunch of like lobies who I don't even want to share space with?
Have you ever wanted to go off-world and be the consort of a king, but not here, elsewhere?
Nobody else has kings. That's what to the Yon team.
What if I told you it was a giant robot person with mind powers? Yes, interested now, aren't you?
All right, Asena wreaks political havoc on her side, amongst
And-
the hoi polloi.
And
Go ahead.
also, when she sees 10 kobolds, she just writes something down and skips over him.
All right.
Also, can we just say that every single time a lizard passes by, Ken Kobold is like incredibly aware of it. Like
Mhm.
before, I never even noticed, but every now and then when he's like eating on his food, there's a lizard that just like scurries up to the table and leaves. He's like, "What the hell?"
He doesn't like jump. He doesn't, freak out or flinch. He just stares at it and watches its every move until it's out of sight. Then stares a little while and slowly turns back.
The lizard flicks its tongue at him.
He
He thinks it's some greater meaning.
All right. John, at the high table.
Mhm.
Word on the street is that Marikoth and all of this, roll an investigation for me, please.
All right. I'm investigating. 23.
23. Okay. Well, it's one of those things that, of course, polite people wouldn't want to talk about. But you're an expert. You're a gumshoe, in addition to being
Yeah.
a warlock. You've worked the streets of Northport. You own Carmichael and Carmichael, the private investigation. You're used to dealing with smoke screens like this.
Yeah.
So the story is that Indogalad needs Mordain vapor in order to trance because he has horrible nightmares, which are, you happen to know, a side effect of the corruptive magic that he's been wielding.
Yep.
Forever, basically. Forever. It's not like he's recently got into some bad stuff. As soon as his parent died and he inherited the throne, he got access to the secret vault. The secret vault is full of powerful, bad stuff. Started corrupting his body and poisoning his mind. So he relies on a steady supply of Mordain vapor in order to trance peacefully without getting horrible twisting nightmares.
Twisting
Marikoth-
nightmares, you say?
Mm-hmm. Not like Night Twist. No relation. Marikoth was his provider, which got him a very important position when in the court.
Because he's Marikoth of Fleuris. He's like a cousin.
Yeah, he's a cousin, not direct offshoot. One of the offshoots of the family.
Didn't somebody spike or poison the stash that was being presented to the king?
Yep.
Yeah.
King Indogalad got some bad stuff. It was a health hazard. Some people say it almost killed him. Others say that it just was deleterious. And they found out he was responsible. An investigation pointed to Marikoth. But it was done he was imprisoned very quietly. It was all done very hush-hush because it would be a huge scandal if a cousin was found to be dealing drugs to the king and the king needs drugs in order to sleep and the cousin poisoned the drugs. We wouldn't want the other great houses of the elves to find out. That would be, one, shocking, gauche, completely gauche, and two, a security risk.
Yeah.
Now, this is the sort of thing that you're good at cracking cases, but not in the next 8 hours.
No, and here's the thing.
Mhm.
John needs to help his friend. but he also needs to get out of here in the morning. So here's what I'm proposing.
What's the compromise?
The compromise is this. John's not, well, John could probably figure this out and get to the bottom of this, but we don't have enough airtime for John staying up all night working on this. What we do have is a buttload of people here that either owe John a favor or we're willing to do John a solid. I think John wants to get his people to help him, not tonight, but over the course of the time while he's gone, in order to look into this and get it figured out. And I am willing to spend inspiration to make sure that that starts going off without a hitch, or at least by the time that John returns, it is mostly resolved and can be a very quick side quest for us, if it's even necessary at all.
You can spend up to 3 inspiration. Depending on how many you spend, will give you a different result when you get back.
Marikos, my boy, I'll spend 3 inspiration.
All right. You go around telling people, look, Marikot's my boy. He would never do it like this. You put in a good word for him. There are some people you actually ask for help, and then the rest of it is just you working the crowd.
And just to clarify, it's less Marikos a good boy, he would never do this, and more so somebody either put him up to this, blackmailed him, or got into his stash. It's not a he's a good boy, forgive him. It's more so
Foul play.
There is foul play happening here, and there is a trail. You just need to find it and be able to work it. I do not have the time or the spoons to be able to find it and work it. However, you can get out there and do it.
All right. You deploy your web of contacts. By the time you come home, that should bear fruit.
I'm going to leave Charlie here.
You want to leave Charlie?
Charlie's gonna lead the investigation. Charlie's been working for Carmichael for at least a year now. He needs to recover from his time with the Night Twist. He is going to be working alongside Ben. Ben's staying here too.
Boss?
Yeah.
I don't look at these people. Look how they're dressed. Look at me. This is I've seen a thing or two back in Northport, but this is like
you wanted that raise, didn't you? You want those pens, Charlie? You got to earn them. You can't just keep making tea and following me around taking notes. Like you got to take what you've learned and apply it in the field.
It's like if you took Greenvale and Highvale and just mashed them together, this place.
Don't think about it like that. Think about it like you're tripping. Yeah, think about it like you're tripping on some really bad whatever the heck you used to trip on before I met you. This is a dream. The only way to wake up is to get Marikos out of jail. The only way to do that is to follow the leads, is to ask the right questions, track down who it is that knows things, and make sure that you get people either to confess or more so, you can connect some very loose implications in order to form your own situations of events to get them to come forward. It's not always about finding the truth. It's about finding your truth and making sure that it applies to the situation. I know that sounds a little sus, but trust me, it all goes out when you air the laundry. It all comes out and get the skeletons, yada, yada, yada. As long as you can find something that's even a hair's breadth away from being the truth, that's all you need. You tug that thread until you pull the whole suit out of the wall. Ben's going to stay here to keep you safe. No one's going to mess with you while he's around. Also, people like him. He does the cool word thing. Also, Ben, while you're here, keep doing the cool word thing. Pick up some more cool spells because you've been busting a lot of those lately trying to help us out. Fully appreciate it, but we need you back to fighting form sooner than later. We're going to head back. I'll take care of Carmichael and Carmichael. When we return, we'll likely do some kind of switcheroo and get you back to Yord. But until then, you're on the case.
You will find all of our notes concerning the Aloysius Carrington matter filed accordingly. You may, without us to work the streets, require some additional assistance. Might I suggest fidelity investigations or routing in some third-party assistance?
I have some kids in mind.
It seems
Thank
in
you,
this
Ben.
environment, I don't need this. And he takes off his hat. And he transforms into an 8-foot tall ice dude with a beard of icicles and a huge frozen scorpion tail.
Yeah.
He stretches, cracks. You have the crunching of ice as he stretches his neck, and yeah, he's good.
Also, you and John points to Charlie. You need some new duds. He takes the hat from Ben and sticks it on Charlie's head.
Whoosh, elven finery. At least it moves like the old stuff. All right, boss, we'll do you proud.
I not only expect it, I demand it, Charlie. You're going to be great.
Yep. Asena,
Come here. And he pulls him into a hug.
Ben also goes in for the hug, and it's very cold.
Yeah.
He sticks to the back of your neck for a moment, and it's like... Asena, is there anything else you want to do while you're here? And because, we'll be on a timetable next week, I'll give you take-backsies and flashbacks and retcons if you want it. But is there anything else that you wanted to do while you're in Perionth, while you're in PYRESPACE?
I think seeing the transformation, Asena will be like, "You are definitely coming to the party."
Ben made the list.
But only in this form.
I prefer it.
Kind of got used to the old one, but I certainly adore this one.
I don't think there's anything else, no.
Great. Then you enjoy a night of feasting and festivity. In the morning, the pilgrims are all scattered all over the place. You manage to say your goodbyes, rally them all up, and Indogalad is more than happy to teleport you back home like he did before. He's bringing a little bit extra security this time because he wants to go try that steak place that you mentioned.
Yes.
The whole crew says their goodbyes. Captain Domnica in particular, Asena says that you ever want to work the space lanes with me? I've seen you in a fight. Be happy to have you on my ship anytime.
Space lanes.
Mm-hmm. Pirates, monsters, treasure. It's a good life.
I'll think about it. Sounds fun though.
Domnica, it almost seems like you should compile some sort of manual. Something that would, maybe carve out an adventure for what you would do on a Spelljammer in space. Lay out the groundwork for, putting together a adventure or two when we return.
I'll leave that to someone else. I'm sure someone else is already working on that.
Lonnie, probably.
Some wizard who lives down by the coast. All right, the pilgrims say goodbyes. Friends are made along the way. We got it. We got there.
Damn it. Took a second.
And there's another flash for a moment. Asena is suspended in the astral plane while everyone else is caught in the throes of Indogalad's teleport. And assuming she doesn't bork it.
We can't take the frail king on a crazy mission in the astral. That would be uncouth. That'd be cringe, Jack.
At long last, our heroes return to Northport, the city of adventure. And that is where we will end tonight's story. Join us next time as our heroes explore the mean streets of Northport, see how all of their friends have been doing in their absence, what the gang war, the war for control of the underworld is going on. And then, the week after that, don't miss the next arc of our story.